Hi, I'm Oscar and I'm a scientist. In today's video we're going to talk about money, how to pay the USCIS fees when you apply for an EB2 NIW green card. I'll show you how to do it and a few tricks that you can use, especially if you are abroad, if you don't live in the United States. Let's jump into it. Alright, so the EB2 NIW process has multiple types of costs. We have a video that talks about the costs of the overall process and it breaks down the different costs, so you can see what are the government fees, what are other types of fees, including if you choose to go with a lawyer. Although this channel focuses mostly on people that are trying to do the process by themselves without lawyers. But in today's episode we are talking specifically about those costs that are associated with government fees. So those are the costs that everyone have to pay for, no matter if you are filing by yourself or if you are using a lawyer. These are fixed costs for everyone. So two examples of these costs are the I-140 fee. That's $700 as of this year. Today is September, almost October 2022. And then the I-485 fee, which is $1,100 today. And by the way, again, if you want to see the breakdown of the total costs that you may incur, you can check out this video here that I have. How can you pay these types of USCIS fees? Well, it depends if you're already in the United States, so that's people that is on a visa, for example, a student visa or a working visa, and are adjusting their status after they get the approval for the green card. But also there's the case of people that are abroad, that they are filing an I-140 for a green card, and then they plan to immigrate to the United States. So because there's always that difference in everything we talk about, in this video we're going to break it down into two sections, one for the people that are already in the US and one for the people that are abroad. So let's dig a little bit deeper and we'll start with the people that are already in the United States. So if you are in the US as a student, as a worker, as a different type of visa holder, then you have three main methods that you can use for paying. And by the way, this is all official information that, before getting into the meat of this, I'm going to show you where you can find this official information, because it's always good to go to the official source. So if you go to the USCIS website, you can type uscis.gov and then I-140 for I-140, and that applies for any type of form. You just put the name of the form. You can always download the most updated form that you must use in your application, and you always typically have instructions, in this case instructions for form I-140. So if you click there, a PDF will open, and in this PDF, if you go to page number 8, then it talks about the filing fee. As I said, it's $700, and then it tells you everything I'm going to tell you now in a slide format, which is a little bit more visual. But I wanted you to know that this information, I'm not making it up, it comes from here, okay? So as I say, three main methods for paying: personal checks, money orders, and credit card for certain cases. So unfortunately, credit cards are not, you cannot use them for everything. Alright, so personal checks and money orders are probably the most used method of payment. So if you are in the US, most likely you have already a US bank account, and that is something you need if you want to pay by check. So you need your bank account. No matter if you use check or money order, it must be from a US financial institution. It should be payable in US dollars. So again, if you're in the US, you most likely have a bank account and you will have this. When you have the check or the money order, it should be made for the US Department of Homeland Security, and in the official instructions it says this. You can go back and check that PDF. You must write this, and that's the example I have here for you. So this is a typical, the way a check looks like. You have your information here, and then you put the date. here is where you write US Department of Homeland Security, and they specifically say do not abbreviate, do not make it short, do not put, I don't know, USDHS or something like that. Put it all like this, and then the amount, spell out the amount in letters, that's always mandatory, and then you can put a memo saying what are you paying, for example I-140 fee, and then sign it. And here you will have your account number and routing number for US bank accounts. So this is pretty standard. If you have ever paid anything by personal check, this is how you do it. Once they receive the check, they will actually convert it to an, not ETF, this is misspelled, an EFT, electronic funds transfer. That means that they will take those numbers from this check, and then you will see it in your account as a deduction from your account. So, I mean, on your end, it doesn't really matter how they do it, but so you know the technicality here. So this is an example of a check. If you want to do it by money order, a money order is something that you typically go to USPS in the US, that's the mail service. So you go to the post office and then you request a money order, and what you do is you pay there. In this case, in this example, you pay $700 and they will give you a piece of paper that actually looks very similar to this. And with that, that's what you will use in your petition. So no matter if you have a money order or a check, what you will do is you will physically put that in your petition. So it will be one of the first things that you will enclose. If you download my example of petition in my website EB2 NIW.info, you will see how I did it. I use a check in my case, but you could choose also that money order from USPS, and I think there's other places where you can get money orders, for example Walmart or Western Union probably also. Alright, so credit cards. A lot of people prefer to pay by credit cards, but unfortunately only certain applications can use credit card, and those are the ones that go to a lockbox or service center. So this is generic information, but if you are paying for a form, let's say it's the I-140, then the first thing I would do is I would go to that USCIS website and check where do I have to submit it to. And then if it is a lockbox or a service center, you may be able to use a credit card. Unfortunately, I already checked, and as of today, October 2022, only I-140s with premium processing or concurrent adjustment of status are eligible for this. So for our EB2 NIW petitions, really this is not an option for a lot of people that want to file separately the I-140 and later the adjustment of status, I-485. And unfortunately right now there's no premium processing for everyone, so this is a very limited option. But once this is available, for example in a few months when there's premium processing for everyone, and by the way I have an update video that you can check out here about how the USCIS is advancing that premium processing program, then if you want to pay by credit card, then you have to also add this form G1450 to your petition. So this form basically is the information of your credit card, and you are giving them authorization to deduct the amount. For example, if it's an I-140 form that you're paying for, then it's going to be $700. So that's about it. That's the form that you use to give them permission to use your credit card. Okay, but right now for most people this is not an option, unfortunately. Let's move on to people that are abroad, and this is the most interesting part because it's more complicated. So first I'm going to say what you should not do. You should not send cash, and that applies for everyone, abroad or internally in the US. Never send cash with your application, and never try to do a PayPal or Western Union transfer. This is a common scam apparently that has been going on, and that led to USCIS to even tweet about it, saying we do not accept Western Union or PayPal as payment for immigration fees. This is a little bit old now, it has 4 years, but that means that there are scams out there, people telling you that you can make a transfer to a certain address, and you will pay your fees. Do not listen to that, because it is clear that they do not accept this option. Okay, so no Western Union, no PayPal if you are abroad, or even if you are in the US. So the easiest way to pay an I-140, remember that there are two stages in your process, two main stages: I-140 approval, and then if you're abroad, you will be directed to your consulate in your country, the US consulate. So for the first step, that's the most challenging step for payment if you're abroad. The easiest way, in my opinion, is if you have a friend or relative, someone that you know and trust, and they trust you in the US, then ask them to help to pay. And I don't mean ask them for the money. Give them the money, transfer the money through whatever method you prefer to them, by international wire to them, PayPal, whatever method that you are comfortable using, and then they can make a check for your payment using their bank account. Because remember, to use a personal check, the bank account has to be a US financial institution. Unfortunately, if you are in Europe, Asia, wherever you are, your bank can issue a check, but it's not a US bank, so it will not be accepted by USCIS. So if you have a friend, relative in the US, they can make the check for you, or they can go to the post office, to USPS in the US, and buy a money order for you. And those two options are the best, the easiest. Then they can maybe mail that check or that money order to you, so you can enclose it in your petition. I know it's a little bit not straightforward, unfortunately, but this is probably the easiest way. But there are other ways, so let's check. What the official instructions say, if you go back to that PDF in the USCIS website, is that if you live outside the United States, contact the nearest US embassy or consulate for instructions on the method of payment. So this is a very open-ended instruction that they give you, but it's worth checking. You can call them and say, well, I don't have a US bank account, I live in, imagine, Spain or France. How do I do it? How do I pay? Maybe in some countries they have a way to pay directly to the consulate, or maybe you can go there and pay there. I've seen some evidence online, for example, I think it was Poland, that they do allow you to go there and pay. There's not a lot of information online, so you must call and see if you can get a hold of them, and they can give you a solution. I've heard from people, for example, in Pakistan, that they had issues with this. They commented on my channel, and that's why I'm making this video. They didn't get an answer from the US consulate. Maybe they couldn't reach them, or they just didn't give a proper solution. So that's why I came up with an idea to do this in a different way. This idea has not been tested. I call it a creative method. But I think for people that don't know anyone in the US and they don't get a valid solution from their consulate, they can try this. But I do suggest that you still go to the first two options if you can, and if you try those and you didn't get a solution, then you may try this method. So I have not personally tried this, but you can try it if you are desperate for a solution. I think this is an interesting idea. If you try it, please let me know in these comments below, or send me an email to oscar@eb2niw.info, so we know if it works or not, and I can tell others. We can spread the word and make this available to everyone. And if it doesn't work, I can also publicly say that this was not a good idea. So the step one for this creative idea is to open a WISE account. Wise.com, formerly known as TransferWise, TransferWise is a money transfer entity that gives you access to this multi-currency account. So you open an account and you can have multiple currencies in your account. I actually have a WISE account, and I have used it to transfer money from the US to my country, in this case Spain, and it works really well. It has lower fees for international transfers than all the banks that I've seen out there. And by the way, I have no commission for saying this. I'm not affiliated in any way to this wise.com website, but I can tell you that I have used it and it's reliable and it's cheap. So the reason why I'm proposing to open this account is because of this multi-currency account. You get a US routing and account number. And if you remember the check that I showed earlier, those are the numbers that are written on that check, okay? Once you have that, you open that account. Hopefully in your country you can open that Wise account. I know that countries like Pakistan or India, but especially Pakistan, that are a little bit challenging in terms of the financial rules and transfers between borders. They are able to. There are videos out there on YouTube telling you how to open a Wise account. So the step number 2 is use that US routing and account number that you get in the Wise account and copy them. Retain that information that you have there in your account, and then use an online tool to make and print checks at home. Checks, at the end of the day, are pieces of paper. Usually in the US, the bank account provides that when you open the account, but you can also make your own. There are websites there out there that you can go and take a look. There are free options, and basically what they are going to ask you to do is to input your name and your address, and then these routing and account numbers that you get from wise.com. So then you will get something like this that you can just print at home and then use it in your USCIS application. This Wise account number is valid theoretically. That's why I think this is a good idea, and the account is in dollars. So you, even if you are in a different country, for example Spain or Pakistan or India, you may put euros or rupees in your account, but then because it's a multi-currency account, you can just transfer it to dollars, and then you will comply with those rules that USCIS has. One is a US institution, you have a US account number, and the account is in dollars. So I think in theory this is a sound method, but if it doesn't work, your petition will just be rejected. It will not be denied. There is a difference between rejection and denial. Rejection is when you submit a petition, they take a quick look at it, and if there's something that is completely off, for example, if you are not providing a valid payment method, they will just send it back to you and reject it completely. They will not review the petition. So this is not a denial. A denial is when they take it, they cash the check, so you will see that in your account. Then they go through your petition, and then if you don't fulfill one or more requirements, they will reject it. That's the difference between those two. So what will happen if this doesn't work is that you will waste time, but you will not waste money because they won't be able to charge you, and it won't affect your chances when you submit again. So you can still find an alternative solution, hopefully resubmit, and then you will only waste some time but not chances, which is the important thing here. So if you are abroad, the next step of the process is much easier to pay. Once you have the I-140 filed and approved, the consulate fees can be paid online. So once you are notified that your I-140 is approved, you will be able to access a portal and pay the consulate fee, which is about $350. That's this link here, but you should get the information from USCIS too. And then the immigration fee, which is a little bit more than $200, is used to pay the production of the green card, the physical green card copy, and that can be paid once you're in the US if you need to. I think you can also pay before coming, but you have the option of paying afterwards. So much easier. The second part of the process, if you're abroad, is much easier than the I-140. I don't know why they make it so complicated, but unfortunately that's how things are right now, and I do hope this video helped you in this not so easy process. If you want to read more about this EB2 NIW green card, visit my website, which is eb2niw.info, and there, among all the information that I provide, you can find also my own real and successful I-140 petition. So it's always good to have a reference to see how you can write it, how you can argue. Of course, my profile is going to be different than yours, but this will be very helpful for you, I think. It's real. I only redacted some very personal information like my social security number. It is successful, it was approved by USCIS, and you can find the proof on my website too. And it's actionable because even if we are different, you can follow the structure and the way of writing and get ideas for your own application. And you can get it in PDF and Word. I organize it in folders, so it's nice and easy, and I hope it's helpful for a lot of you. So that's it from today from me, and I wish you the best of lucks in this green card journey, and I'll see you in the next video. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and visit EB2NIW.info where you can find a lot more information about this green card category. Good luck!